Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Community First podcast, where we have legal and social conversations with the community as part of B&P's vision to give back to society. I am Prislawepia Ametame, a legal associate here at B&P. On today's episode, we will be discussing the SSNIT pension scheme and its benefits. Our guest speaker is Mr. Charles Garshong, the Public Affairs Manager of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, also known as SSNIT. Mr. Garshong, please tell us a bit about yourself and the work you do.
Thank you very much, Priscilla, and for hosting me on Community First. It's a privilege to be here to offer to the community of B&P. As you rightly mentioned, I am there as a public affairs officer. I see to the running of the public affairs department. Over the years, I've done a bit of bits and pieces in the trust. I worked as a fingerprint technician, compliance officer, prosecution staff, and now I've transitioned from enforcing compliance to now relating with the public in a different aspect, how we can get people to now comply without necessarily going through the court, but through understanding the basics of social security and appreciating the benefits there is for them. So basically, this is what I do at SSNIT.
Wow. With this background, we are confident that you are the right person to speak to on this subject. So let's get right into it. Mr. Garshong, can you please tell us a bit about the Social Security and National Insurance Trust?
Okay, so SSNIT, as we often refer to, is a statutory body that has a responsibility to provide pension for all workers in Ghana. So SSNIT was established somewhere in 1965 to operate pensions in the country. It has gone through different phases. Originally, we were offering what we call a provident fund. Now it transitioned in somewhere 1991 through the PNDC Law 247 to become a pension scheme. And even beyond that, we have gone through some transitions with the passage of the National Pensions Act of 2008, Act 766.
Okay.
And so SSNIT basically is responsible for managing what we call the first tier of a 3-tier pension scheme to ensure that every worker in Ghana, whether in the public sector, the private sector, or self-employed, they receive monthly pension when they are old, or in the event something happens and they are declared unfit to work again by qualified medical doctors. Then SSNIT comes in to pay them, or in case they decide to die, we attend to their dependents.
Okay. Can you kindly explain just briefly the 3-tier pension scheme?
All right, so the 3-tier pension scheme came into operation somewhere in 2010 after the passage of the law in 2008. We started implementing from 1st January 2010.
Okay.
It provided for SSNIT to manage what we call the first tier of the 3 tiers. Then we have a second and third tiers managed by private fund managers.
Okay.
So under the 3-tier pension scheme, there's a total contribution of 18.5%.
Okay.
So for employees, they contribute 5.5% and employers top up with 13%, making the total of 18.5%.
Okay.
Of this 18.5%, 13.5% is paid to SSNIT.
Okay.
Out of which SSNIT remits 2.5% to NHIS.
Okay.
So whether you have registered for the National Health Insurance Scheme or not, 2.5% of your salary is sent to the National Health Insurance Authority.
Oh wow, I didn't know this.
And the second tier also receives 5%.
Okay.
So the 5% they receive, they invest, and when we retire, they pay us lump sum. Okay. So with the second tier, there are several licensed companies that receive these money. So you have to choose your second tier company.
Okay.
But with SSNIT, we provide monthly pension. So you realize though 13.5% came to SSNIT, we'll be left with 11%.
Yeah.
So it's the 11% that we have to invest and ensure that when people retire, we pay them so they are no more.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's very interesting. So how does an employed person register with SSNIT?
Registration is basically simple. So with the employed person, we normally will prefer if you have a note or appointment letter from your employer indicating you are an employee of that particular institution. Then you, on that note, will have to see your income, because your contribution is going to be based on your income. I mentioned some percentages. These percentages are based on what you receive as income.
Okay.
So you come and you, with your Ghana card, we just onboard you onto our scheme. But people may not have their Ghana card. If you don't have the Ghana card, you can still register once you are an employee of any business or entity that you are working for.
Okay, so if I run a business, how do I register my business with SSNIT?
So to register your business as an establishment with SSNIT, you need to bring in your certificate of incorporation, your registration document from the Registrar General, and based on that, we'll do the registration for you. And we also have to provide a list of your workers and their corresponding salaries, because it is on that will determine what should be paid for each of those workers, and will generate what we call a contribution list. That is the list of workers and their income, and we'll let you have it so that you know what you have to pay on a monthly basis.
Okay, so what about a person that doesn't work for a formal organization? What happens to people like that?
So the self-employed, in fact, at the moment we are embarking on a major campaign. If you go to the airwaves, we are all over talking about the need for the self-employed to sign up to the Social Security Scheme. So we've embarked on a campaign called the Self-Employed Enrollment Drive, that is SEED. So for self-employed, all they need to know or do is to walk into any SSNIT office with a Ghana card and let us know the work they are doing. Maybe I'm a private, in fact, if you go to courts, there are a lot of legal practitioners who are not really, they are working for themselves. They don't pay contribution. That is why you see some 70 years, they just have, some people, for lack of better terms, they say they call them bail lawyers. Because they need to get something before they can survive. So if you're able to plan now, and just with your Ghana card, you simply register. And that is it. You declare how much you are earning, and based on that, we'll let you know this is what you have to contribute. Some people will say, I'm not even earning, I don't have a structured salary, but I can contribute 500 cedis every month. And we'll let you know that this 500 cedis in terms of salary, this is what it means. So when you are retiring, we are going to calculate your pension based on this salary. And you can change it every year. So somebody will ask, what if I don't have the Ghana card? You can still register. Just walk into any SSNIT office and we'll register it. For people who are in groups, self-employed, they have an association. For such people, we'll tell them there's no need to come. Just invite us. We'll come to your location and we'll register every member of the group. And after registration, people are concerned, do I have to come to SSNIT office every month to come and pay? No. You can pay simply through mobile money transaction. You can just dial *711 *9#. And you pay your contribution either monthly, quarterly, or every 6 months. It is up to you to decide. So it is simple. You dial *711 *9#, and you go for option 4, and you'll be able to do that.
Great. I'd like to know, as a self-employed person, or even as an employed person, are there any minimum contribution requirements for SSNIT, or can I just contribute any amount that I feel I'm able to?
Yes, there are minimum contribution requirements, but I tell people, why think about the minimum when the maximum can give you the gold? Because what we do actually as SSNIT, we are an insurance company. We insure people's incomes, right? So just like you go to the general insurance and go and insure your vehicle, in case you are done comprehensive insurance and you are involved in some major accident, the insurance company is going to replace your vehicle partially based on the value you came to insure. So granted you drive S-Class, V12, the V12, not even the V8, the V12, and you get involved in an accident. But when it came to the insurance company to insure, you declare that you drive a Matisse. the insurance company is going to give you the value of a Matisse.
That's true.
Then you come and say, no, I was driving an S-Class.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It'll be too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
In that same vein, we encourage people that insure your full earnings with SSNIT. Because if you insure 20,000 and you retire, we are going to give you a replacement value partially based on the 20,000.
Yes.
So though there's a minimum, and that minimum is based on the monthly equivalent of the national minimum wage. The monthly equivalent of the national minimum wage. So for this year, what has been declared, you just calculate 13.5% of it, and that will become your minimum premium. So the minimum premium for this year is just about 55 cedis.
Oh, okay.
So with that, people can insure. But if I'm going to insure and pay 55 cedis, then that should give you an idea what your pension is going to look like.
Yes.
Some people are receiving 300 cedis as monthly pension.
Okay.
Another is also receiving 169,000 on monthly basis.
Wow.
As his pension.
Wow.
Okay, and there are several taking 50,000, 20,000, 100,000, 98,000. It all depends on what they came to insure.
Yes.
However, under the new law, the Act 766, there's a cap on which you can insure. So for this year, irrespective of your earning, you cannot insure more than 42,000 cedis with us.
On a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis. Okay. So what it means is that you cannot pay more than 13.5% of that 42,000.
Okay.
Previously, there was no limit. Okay. That is how come people are earning as high as 169,000.
Yes.
So if you have insured 42,000, what it means is that you can likely start your pension on about 25,000.
Wow.
That is where, if your income now is around the 42,000.
Okay.
Because the pension calculation is based on a couple of factors. I'm sure we'll come across them as we engage further.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's very interesting. I'd like to know who benefits from SSNIT contributions. Is it just the person that is the employer that's making the contribution, or the self-employed person, or can other members of their family benefit from their SSNIT contributions as well?
All right. So the social security contributions that you make directly is the person who is insuring his or her income that benefits. Because whatever you came to insure, it was so that in the event of old age or something coming up and you being declared unfit to work again, then we can pay you on a monthly basis.
Okay.
That having been said, we have instances where people pass on.
Yes.
So when somebody dies before age 60, then we have to pay what we call survivor's benefit to the validly nominated dependents.
Okay.
So I'm talking about validly nominated dependents. You might have nominated so many people, but we may have invalid nominations, and we have to look at that.
Okay, that's something we'll go into.
So yes, family will benefit when we talk about when the person is no more. But the other benefit that a family will say, indirect benefit, is the fact that the one who has insured his income, tomorrow when he's unfit to work again or is old and cannot work again, will not become a burden on the family.
Yeah, that's true.
So in that case, he has some financial anchor in SSNIT that he can always fall on.
Okay. So how many people can one nominate to benefits in case there are no more?
You can nominate as many as you deem fit. Okay. In fact, some men will tell you they have 45 children. Okay. So you can nominate all the 45 children. And in that, it means the percentages, some will get 1%, another gets 2%, 3%. So the percentages will just be low. But there is no limit to the number of people you can nominate. And if you nominate somebody today, you're at liberty to change tomorrow. So if you nominate your spouse and he or she makes you happy, you can keep the person on. If you go back home and it makes you sad, come and take the name off. It's at no cost. You don't have to pay. It's very simple. You can change as often as you desire.
Okay.
And we have instances where people pre-decease their member. Yes. So it is important for people to do those updates. So yes, we always encourage people that update your beneficiaries as often as possible. So you'll be surprised, people listening to us, there are some of them, they registered before they got married.
Yes.
After marriage, they've had children. It's been 5 long years. They've not bothered to change their beneficiaries, because some people will tell you, I'm not going to die now. Yes, I know you're not going to die now, but I walk around and I see gone too soon. Somebody passing on at 35.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Though I've seen somebody passing at 28 and they wrote kept too long. Right. So there are instances. So please just look out there and make sure you update your beneficiary. Updating does not mean you are going to die the next day. You're only making sure that in the unlikely event you pass on, you don't create a mess behind you.
So what is an invalid nomination, as you mentioned?
So somebody comes to us and says, Priscilla is my wife, and the person passes on, only realize Priscilla was the girlfriend. That is invalid, because per the Social Security law, if you look at the rules in there, it provides the type or the kind of people who can be nominated as beneficiaries. You cannot nominate your boyfriend, girlfriend, side chick, side boy. You can nominate your pastor, your imam. So people you can nominate should be family. Okay, so if we have your ex-spouse, that is also invalid nomination.
Okay.
So
is that because you probably nominated the person when you were married and the marriage has broken down, so it has become invalid? Okay.
So you may also have people who nominated their grandparents and their grandparents are no more. So for such invalid nominations, if it comes up after the person has passed on, we'll have to apply the interstate succession law to redistribute that portion of the benefit. But we also have instances where people fail to nominate their children. If it so happens that those children are minors, then the law makes provision for us to bring them on board and give them 60% of the total benefit.
Regardless of who else has been nominated? Regardless. Okay.
And so all the minors will be entitled to 60%. So if there were some other minors in there, then they will also be factored into the 60%. Unless the percentage allotted to that minor was more than the 60%. So that is a different thing. And even when we have situation where you even nominated the minor and you give the minor 5% and the others are older, we'll have to vary and give that minor 60%.
Okay.
So sometimes you have a lot of issues coming up, especially from the women, because it's the men who cause those issues. When the men pass on and you are processing, then you realize in the course of investigation, maybe the person has gone through some transfers here and there, and you find some minor somewhere you want to bring on board, and then we say, no, we had 2 children. I said, no, your husband says he has 3 children.
Yes.
My husband cannot have 3 children. Those are some of the issues that come up. So when you bring up, sometimes people feel they are smuggling people in, but there's no. We've had instances where the woman was really fighting it, but when you brought the other child, she had to keep quiet. She didn't need a DNA to prove that.
Yes.
So those are some of the issues, but it is important for us to update our records so that it will take care of some of these invalid nominations.
Yes. So I would like to know, where a contributor reaches retirement and starts to receive pensions and then dies somewhere along the line, does SSNIT give anything to the family?
When a pensioner dies, under the current dispensation, the Act 766, we have what is called a guaranteed period of 15 years. What it simply means is once you retire up to age 75, rain or shine will pay your pension. Beyond 75, we need to be sure you are alive to continue paying your pension. So we have what we call pensioner certificate. So every year, the pensioner must renew the pensioner certificate to continue to receive. If you don't renew, they will stop your pension. The assumption is that you are no more. So if the person shows up after 3 years that, hey, my pension has not been coming and I'm alive, we'll restore the person onto the pension payroll and pay all the 3 years we withheld the pension. And if the pensioner dies after 75, there's nothing to be paid the nominated dependents or beneficiaries.
Okay.
If the person dies before age 75, because the guaranteed period is 15 years,
yes.
and the person passed on at 63, between 63 and 75 is 12 years of uncollected pension.
Yes.
So we term it as unexpired pension. So calculate the pension for the next 12 years.
Okay.
Find what you call the present value and pay it as a bulk money or a lump sum to those he nominated.
Okay.
So when a pensioner dies before 75 under the Act 766, we still pay some money to the validly nominated dependents. Beyond 75, there's nothing to be paid.
Okay, that's very interesting. Let's move away from pensioners and their families and back to the issue of employers. What do I do when my employer refuses to pay my SSNIT contributions?
If your employer refuses to pay, we try to engage. So you need to inform SSNIT.
Okay.
You can inform SSNIT by going to our social media handles at SSNIT Ghana, whether Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Send us a message, but please don't put it on our wall. Send it inbox. We don't want to set you up against your employer.
Yeah.
So send it inbox, because your employer could find you on our wall. So send us the details of the business, where it is located, the name of your employer, and some contact address. We'll follow up and get things rectified for you. Usually when these things come, we engage the employers. We have processes we go through to establish whether, and sometimes when we follow up on some of these leads, we realize that it is not just one person who is not being paid for.
The whole
Exactly.
business.
Sometimes you have so many people, and the few that are even being paid for, you realize they have underdeclared the salaries.
Yes.
And why people will underdeclare is that they know if the employer, as an employer, the employer has to pay 13%
Yes.
of your declared income for you.
Yes.
And you will top up with 5.5%.
Yes.
So instead of indicating that you are on an income of 5,000, he will indicate you are earning 2,000.
Okay.
Because if he indicates 5,000, what it means is that he has to pay
more.
650 cedis on your behalf.
Okay.
But if he indicates 2,000, he'll be paying 260 for you.
Okay.
That will be to his advantage.
Yes.
And you will get a very minimal pension when you retire. So we always try to engage from different angles so that we talk to them to understand that they need to do the right thing. Where after all these negotiations, they are still not yielding, then we are left with no option to initiate court actions against them. And it is not in the interest of SSNIT to be doing this, and it is also not in the interest of the employer to be evading contribution payments. Because once you get to the court, the punitive measures there can be very, very grave.
Yes.
You risk being jailed for 5 years.
Wow.
For failing to pay. If you look at section 83 under the Act 766, it talks about the punitive measures, and you could be fined up to 2,000 penalty units.
Okay.
Why do we have to wait to go through that and go and pay over 24,000 cedis? Meanwhile, the contribution you should have paid probably will be less than 4,000 cedis for the period you have evaded.
Yes.
So I will always advise that don't wait till it gets to that point. The social security is the human right of the person. Under ILO Convention 102, it talks about social security being the human right of people.
Yes.
And you see, it tells people to live in dignity when they are old.
Yes.
Once you deny or you underdeclare, what is going to happen is that in the future, this person is going to join the number of aged who are standing at the traffic light begging.
Yes.
They will sit by you in pews in church, and they will be kneeling next to you in the mosque, waiting for service to be over for you to give them something before they can buy butter for their bread.
Yes.
It is not right. So let's try and do the right thing today and avoid these infractions with the law. it is not in your interest that you have employed somebody, you have failed to do what the law requires, and because of that, you have to serve jail term. And you'll be all over, stories running on you, your business will go down because nobody wants to do business with entities that are not compliant with the law.
Yes. So just to be clear, self-employed persons are not obliged to, there's no obligation.
Self-employed persons are not obliged to pay contributions. So for the self-employed, because of the numerous benefits that they will be receiving, that is why it is in their interest to pay contribution. So if a self-employed person is not paying contribution, there is nothing like court action. Because the person is trying to secure his own future.
Yes.
So I will plead that if you are self-employed, the law does not force you to do it, but you need to do it because of the benefit that you will gain. As I speak, we have a 32-year-old man who has been receiving pension for the past 3 years.
A 32-year-old man.
32-year-old man who has been receiving pension for the past 3 years.
How did that happen?
He's in Sunyane. He got involved in domestic accident that rendered him incapable of working again.
Okay.
So he's been declared unfit for any gainful employment. And he contributed for about 42 months or so.
Okay.
If you check the total contribution he made, the pension we have been paying him, within 5 months, his total contribution was used up.
Yes.
But because it is an insurance scheme,
yes,
we will be paying him till God calls him.
Wow.
And I have a friend in Pontamale. He's Mohammed. He lives in the Chief's Palace. He has been on the pension payroll for the past 9 years.
What?
He's 38.
Wow.
He lost his sight. He was working as an irrigation assistant. He lost his sight. And since then, he's been receiving pension. At the time when he was working, what he was earning then is less than 20% of what we are paying him today.
Wow.
So, because once you retire, every year we increase your pension.
Oh, okay.
So, because of that increase in pension we've been providing, his income now is far above what he was earning some 9-10 years ago. So it is in your interest. And these are people who were not working in the formal setting.
Yes.
They were basically working as laborers.
Yes.
So you probably might be a driver today, but they were fortunate. They had people who paid for them.
Yes.
But what about you? And you see, we have a lot of people who have probably been rendered invalid. They didn't know about this. Otherwise, now that they are home doing nothing,
yes,
depending largely on benefactors,
yes,
who may not always have to offer anyway,
yes,
it becomes a burden. But if you are in such situation and there's income coming, some revenue coming from somewhere, the people who are taking care of you wouldn't feel so burdened.
Yes.
Because they know, for this our brother or our sister, something small will come. And probably they will even be depending on slightly on your little money that comes. So it is in your interest. You may be driving Uber or Bolt or whichever commercial vehicle or trotro. You probably might not have veered your mind to some of these things. Or the watchy seller we meet at the junction. We are serving the community. The kinky seller I enjoy so much. Please, it is for you. This is your pension and it is your right, and you need to fight for your right because nobody is going to deny you. That is why now we've made it very flexible so that everyone can earn pension.
Yes. You
need to be interested in this conversation and you need to act after listening.
Mr. Garshong, does this mean I'm able to retire at 40 and SSNIT will, voluntarily, when I voluntarily retire, SSNIT will pay me pensions until?
All right. So with
75.
With the pension we pay, you need to contribute for a minimum of 15 years.
Okay.
So if you start at age 15, and it allows people to join at age 15.
Okay.
So from age 15 to 45, you can join the pension scheme, the SSNIT pension scheme.
Okay.
Beyond 45, you cannot join. So for every insurance, there are some scheme rules.
Yes.
So if you join at 15, by 30, you would have done the minimum 15 years or 180 months of
and
contribution.
I'll be ready to retire.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh.
So to retire, we have a compulsory retirement age of 60 years. However, for people who feel I'm too tired, I don't want to work till 60, then you should be at least 55 years.
Okay.
So once you have 55 years and you've done the minimum 180 months, you can decide to retire.
Okay.
But I will not say I've done 15 years, so I'm going to stop contributing. No. Assume you are earning the same income and you have done 15 years. I have contributed for 30 years. My pension will be better than yours because I have a longer period of contribution. So don't stop at the 15. It is in your interest to contribute for a longer period. So don't say I'm going to wait till I'm 40 to start contributing. Please, no. You probably might even be in school, but you have some side business you are doing. You can register as self-employed and contribute. If tomorrow you become an employee, you give them the same number and the contribution will continue from there.
Okay. So, Mr. Garshong, what about somebody that's 50 who is now entering into employment? Is the person able to go back and pay for previous years, or will the person have to, just forfeit?
All right. So, if you have contributed you've never contributed before, age 50.
Yes.
You don't need to go back.
Okay.
The point is you have lost that right. Unless you were working and the people were not paying for you.
Yes.
Then that one, you have not lost that right. We will take the employer on to pay for you for the lost period.
Okay.
But I am self-employed. I'm 50 years. I want to join the SSNIT scheme. Oh, that is very good. But unfortunately, it is too late in the day.
Wow.
So it is good for you to act now.
Yeah.
Make hay while the sun shines. We are young. The earlier the better. So don't wait till you are older than 45. Otherwise, you will have to consider. You cannot join SSNIT, but you can go and contribute to the second tier fund managers, and they will give you a lump sum.
Okay.
Remember, SSNIT gives monthly pension for life,
yes.
But they will look at how much you have brought, what is the accrued interest on it, and give everything to you at a go.
Okay.
So that is what happens with the other tier. So beyond 45, that you can consider those other ones, but before 45, SSNIT is your surest bet. Okay,
so SSNIT is collecting all this money every month. What are they doing with the money? How are they investing it, if they're investing it at all?
Okay, so at the moment, when we collect contributions, we have over 230,000 pensioners.
Okay.
So for employers, they have up to 14th of the ensuing month to pay contributions. So for the contributions of June, they had up to 14th of July to pay their contributions, and that has been done.
Okay.
And SSNIT also pays pension on the third Thursday of every month.
Okay.
So every third Thursday in the month, SSNIT pays contributions. SSNIT pays pensions to the over 230,000 pensioners. So once we pay, how do we pay the pensions? So the contributions we have collected, we use it to pay pensions.
Wow.
After paying pensions, whatever is left, we invest.
Okay.
When we started the scheme, at the beginning, almost every money that was coming in was being invested.
Okay.
So now that we have so many pensioners, what comes today? We don't go to touch our investment and say, oh, we are going to look for your money to pay you. No.
Okay.
But we collect your contribution to them and use it to pay those who are retired.
Oh, okay.
What is left, we add to the existing investment. So usually you find us, and the investment we do, there are some guidelines provided by our regulator.
Okay.
So SSNIT is huge, but we don't do things on our own. We have a big brother that looks into what we do. We call the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA. So NPRA provides some guidelines on where we can invest and what kinds of. So you see us, we are into the financial sector. You see us in the hospitality industry. So we are scattered all over. So most of the big companies that you find us there. So if you go to the Ghana Stock Exchange, we have investment in some 22 listed entities.
Wow.
And
our money is working.
Oh yeah, if you go to MTN, we are there. Stanchart, EcoBank, Carl Bank, GCB. So we have investment in all these places. So African World Airline, Labadi Beach Hotel, Westhill Small, host of others.
Okay. Well, it's been a great conversation. I'm sure our listeners have learned so much from you. I have myself. Just to wrap up the conversation, what's your advice to employees and self-employed persons and employers even considering the scheme? What are your final words?
All right. So if you're an employer and you are listening to us, please make sure you register all your employees. Ensure you are paying their contributions on the correct incomes that they receive, and whether they are on contract or you call it part-time or casual, they have the right to social security. Please make sure you register. We are not interested in taking anybody to court for non-compliance. Our interest is to ensure that the rights of these workers are protected. So please make sure you are paying, not as a duty to the law, but as a right to these employees, because once you do, they are motivated to give off their best.
Yes.
And for employees, please make sure that you check your statement often. You can go to our website www.snit.org.gh to check your statement to ensure your employer is paying your contribution on your right income. If it pays on the right income, that is going to determine what you earn tomorrow.
Yes.
So make sure that is being done, and it is done regularly. You can also go to our social media handles, at SSNIT Ghana, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can send us a message inbox. You can get your statement, or you can call us on our contact center 0302611622 if you need any clarification. We are more than glad to serve you. And for our cherished self-employed people out there, you are doing your own job. It may be going so great. You may be having one or two challenges, but you need to think about tomorrow. A day is coming when you cannot work again because you probably may be too old and frail and fragile to continue working. Or you probably might have lost your health due to whatever condition you are faced, and doctors have declared you unfit to work again. Now you say things are challenging, but have you thought of it, how it is going to be when you have lost your income altogether? I urge you to insure your income with SSNIT today. You can pay any contribution, and it is very flexible. Just get in touch with us. Invite us to your various places of worship or your association meetings. We are more than happy to be there. We don't charge for coming to provide any of those services. You don't have to pay for registering. You only have to pay your premium, which will determine what you'll be receiving as pension. If you have not learned anything at all today, tell somebody that the SSNIT scheme is open to every category of workers, and the self-employed also have the right to join. Please register today. Contribute on your full earning. Use the short code, the mobile money short code *711 *9#. Just go to option 4, pay your contributions, and you are good to go. You can like and follow any of our social media handles at SSNIT Ghana. And please, if you have any issue, do not hesitate. 0302 611 622.
Thank you very much, Charles. Once again, you are listening to the B&P Associates Community Affairs podcast. We've been speaking to Mr. Charles Garshong from SSNIT, who has been giving us all the information on the pension scheme and how you can also contribute. This has been a very insightful conversation. I hope you have enjoyed listening to us, and we look forward to meeting with you again on our next episode. Thank you very much.